thank you very much. Let's crack the Dubois story right now. And we warned the Attorney General about excessive press conferences that were not the way in which prosecutors work. Prosecutors will usually go to court and make their case. Dominic, the Attorney General, began his work with excessive press conferences. Now he has stopped, but we are waiting for his next press conference because some of the things happening in the court, well, we have to wait to see. But it looks like what is happening in the court is not bearing out what he said at the press conference. It appears like that. The judge is the ultimate decision maker. We are not the decision makers. The High Court judge is the ultimate decision maker. We understand that in the process, the judge has been changed. Whilst we know that the Chief Justice has the prerogative to do that, no reasons have been assigned to the lawyers as to why the judge was changed. But we do know that the Chief Justice has the prerogative to change judges. So the judge in the Kwabena Agyapong case has been changed. His Lordship Justice Nyandu has been replaced with a new judge who heard the case 2 days ago. The last 3 times they were in court was a new judge. But the kind of testimony coming out of the court is serious. Have a look at this conversation on Peace FM and then we'll come and give you the data and the facts. Have a look.
Already, edit Ruby Opokua Eduamwa. Na anti edit Ruby Opokua Eduamwa. And then you give us a bit of Asantoa. One walk with the dance here. Say, Kwabena Adubuahi. Kwabena Adubuahi, your bonus of what say, hey, Sika, where we are not there, one of 5 questions. Attorney General Ben press conference. Say, no, maybe Boakye man and yes, hey, Attorney General. Say, be would now ye Okunini Womrem, a ban lawyer penny pow. Na Emram ya Yankwa Emram school you be enemy say. Say, they so bo Dominic. Say Dominic, why you A, B, C, D? Ye no one said the court. Ni a Kwaku do asem. Na court na chesa, some wanted to Dominic see, Odi for and now Odibim. Nanso, Nansende, Asamba na Attorney General press conference. One big chim in the way you say, the way you say. You say 49.1 million Ghana cedis. Hrabasa Ayira F National Office. You National Security Fusika and the fine could see him. Odansidi Bako. Ani dinde edit Ruby Opokua Aduamwa and Wokodi Adansia. Ono in charge of finance or say ye nimisi kebi a year 49.1 million. Aira. And you say, na yamwana mo no say I want me intro. Ade a minimum menka. Minti minka ne ono aye Attorney General second prosecution witness. Attorney General na witness yo second prosecution witness. Ababejan say onu edit Ruby Opokua Aduamwa yen kanche no to ogina Accra High Court to esini pan say she has no record. HSA 49.1 million Ghana cedis. Aya ede free national security for Owusu. In this answer na ye kan de ede kastonum menam na metete menam na metete obeti pe eti yabasira Ghana mperifo hwe enipa ni onyam atise nkosua etofo masebe na ase ya nesa se asamba mumma court ne mra no anya adwuma na yenya se yedika crucify no public court se nipa na asam wom se na asam nim ni aka no nwura abrantie Kwabena Adubuahi said yes ya horo ne pa ye be ye hwehwem be wie ne wonifo a na nani onyam be sida siesie ide mi twu kra ne ntiasie no man be kure ba se mu de me kwa me bo na emi de se ye kan ho asem say ye best Attorney General say nke be ya press conference about cases no ka ontwa so ehunhia na oma court ni nya adwuma wan Ghana sidi adwenkyere ne se ehunhia kwa ye hwehwemu wuwi a won krata document we de akwa court na wo afiri ho no tietia na Miss Edit Ruby Opoku Aduamwen on serve as head of finance within the National Security Bureau ejwonye se bia obi a wotakwanche bi agigi susu bi o wonye ni paatoa our national security ho na wono no kwa serve as second witness a waka ni paying say 49.1 million Ghana cedi bi anwa.
Oh, why do I have this behind? Please, can you change it very quickly? It was disturb the video. Yes, thank you. So you heard that. So what happened in court was that the lady said to the court, and I'm going to show you the text, that, you know, the Attorney General's case was formulated on some 49 million that is missing, or some 49 million that has been stolen by Kwabena Agyapong. They had their exchange rate and translated the 49 million to be $7 million. They said that Kwabena introduced an account together with his wife called BNC Private Account. Listen to Dominic speaking to Ghanaians months ago in 2025. Listen to Dominic.
The transfer from the National BNC's account brought the total transfers that he made to his private BNC to 49 million Ghana cedis. By the exchange rate at the time, this amount was exactly the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million United States of American dollars. The transfer from the National BNC's account brought the total transfers that he made to his private BNC to 49 million Ghana cedis. By the exchange rate at the time, this amount was exactly the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million United States of American dollars. The transfer from the National BNC's account brought the total transfers that he made to his private BNC to 49 million Ghana cedis. By the exchange rate at the time, this amount was exactly the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million United States of American dollars.
Can you hear that? An Attorney General going to court to prosecute a case. He comes to do a press conference and pronounces the accused person guilty to the general public in pursuit of oral. Their oral, the so-called oral. In pursuit of oral, the learned Attorney General comes to does something that has never happened in the history of the Fourth Republic. And we've said it here many, many, many times. The first Attorney General of the Fourth Republic is probably Ato Forson. Or is it Tando? Maybe it's Tando. And then Ato Forson. And then Nobeda Samoa. And then Akufo Addo. Papa Owusu Ankoma. Ayukweotu. Joe Gate. Marietta Brew. Isn't it? Yeah, it is indeed. No. Betty Mold Idrisu. And then you had Martin Amidu. And then you had who else? Somebody came, and then you had at NPP coming, isn't it? Gloria Kufu, Godfrey Dame. No Attorney General. None of them, not even the revolutionary Obeda Samoa, will hold a press conference and pronounce an accused person guilty. And I've said it before, when we're covering quality grain in 2001, 2002, Nana Akufo Addo was the Attorney General. He was prosecuting the case. Together with the Director of Public Prosecutions, he died. May he rest in peace. His name is Safo Sampong. And they will not even grant interviews after court. Akufo Addo thought that it was unethical to grant interviews after court when you are prosecuting. Not with Dominic. As for him, oh, the picture is not yet. Sorry, viewers. As for Dominic, he comes to the markets and pronounces people guilty in the ears of the general public. Do you know what has happened to Dominic? As a lawyer, who is a seasoned lawyer like him, who has been teaching law for many years, he was listening to a journalist. How can a journalist, we journalists, we are whistleblowers. The work of a journalist is essentially whistleblowing. The whistle that we blow, some of it may be correct, some may not be correct. Eventually, those that are correct, the state benefits. So journalists are whistleblowers. Journalists don't take a tooth comb and go through a process to determine what is actionable and what is not actionable. When we are doing our stories, we don't check whether this is a violation of Act 29 or that the procedures have been violated. That's not our call. Our call is to throw the light on whatever is happening, to point people to something may be happening here so that authorities can act. But if you are a prosecutor, an important one like the Attorney General, and your ears are given to a journalist to tell you the case you are making, then you will be holding press conferences like that and be talking about things that are not even actionable. They were talking about Agyapong has cars, Agyapong has houses. That has not even come up in the courts. It's not part of the court work. That is how we journalists are. We are whistleblowers. We are not prosecutors. We can't help you to prosecute. We can just blow the whistle so that you, the Attorney General, you can look into the matter and come back and tell us something. That is why Dom Levo said that the oral, most of the things that came is garbage. That's why Dom Levo said that. He said it's garbage. Because that is our work as journalists. We are blowing the whistle. So Dominic Ahini may have ceded his office to a journalist to tell him what to do. And that is why we are having what we are having. Listen to Joy FM's report of the matter that happened in court. Fresh allegations, fresh revelations, it says, emerge in court today during the cross-examination of the prosecution's second witness and head of the finance at the National Signals Bureau, Ruby Edith Edumwa, as the trial involving Kwabena Agyapong and others continued. Now, you have to understand, viewers, that the said Ruby Edumwa is Director of Finance at the National Signals Bureau. She is a witness for the prosecution. The prosecution have brought her to court so that hopefully she will make their case for them, or she will support the case that they are making. The case they are making is that Kwabena Agyapong, together with his wife, siphoned 49 million Ghana cedis that belongs to the state, and that's why they are being prosecuted. Here is their prosecution witness who is coming to tell us how Kwabena Agyapong siphoned 49 million together with his wife. Listen to what she says. This is what she says. The witness told the court that in her capacity as the head of finance within the national security setup, she is not aware of any theft or missing 49.1 million. The witness, the director of finance, under whose auspices all the financial transactions go, she is saying to the court, as a prosecution witness, that's me, I'm not aware that any money has been stolen. Let's go on. She further stated that she has not reported any such financial loss to her superiors, the Attorney General, Iyoko, and Auditor General, or the police. According to her, it would have been her responsibility to flag any such irregularity if it had occurred. She also indicated that there has been no complaint, management query, or adverse findings from the national security establishment regarding any missing 49.1 million. Her testimony adds a new dimension to earlier proceedings where she disclosed that Agyapong was compelled by financial constraints within the national security apparatus to arrange and pre-finance payment to suppliers. Under cross-examination by defense counsel Samuel Atachian, she explained that the institution was at one point left with a balance of just 11,000 cedis, prompting measures to address obligations with Ability Computers and Software Industries Limited of Israel. Agyapong, who is standing trial alongside his wife Angela Ejeboatin, faces multiple charges including causing financial loss to the state, money laundering, and stealing in connection with an alleged 49.1 million cybersecurity contract scandal. Speaking to the media after the proceedings, defense counsel Samuel Atachian maintained that the prosecution's witness is being factual and that nothing can change the evidence presented. So far, so very good. The prosecution's witness is just being factual, and there's no way you can improve upon the facts that are before the court. There's nothing we have put across that is not from the prosecution itself. If your adversary is admitting your facts, then the conclusion is yours, he said. The developments in court appear to contrast with earlier claims by the Attorney General Dominic Ayini, who alleged that Agyapong transferred 49.1 million from a Bureau of National Communications account into a private company account linked to himself and his wife. However, previous court proceedings reveal that the funds in question were disbursed through checks signed by the National Security Coordinator and drawn from the coordinator's account NSC at Fidelity Bank for special operations. The defense argues that this undermines claims that the accused acted unilaterally. The case has been adjourned to the 9th of April as cross-examination continues. That's the Joy FM reports, which says that what is coming out is showing a clear contradiction between the facts that have been delivered to the court and the press conference that was run by Dominic Ayini, the Attorney General. I am waiting for Dominic to call another press conference. I understand that Felix Kwaku Annan is with the president around the country. I'm sure that when he's back, he will call Dominic to hold another press conference so that media can ask him these questions. That Mr. Attorney General, you said the guy has stolen. Your witness in court said the guy has not stolen and that she is not aware of any theft. But you said the guy has stolen.
You were invited by the OSP some time back.
Yes, yes.
What was it about?
They were concerned about some revenue assurance contract at the airport. And at the airport, we had an engagement with a company to assure us of the revenue that the airport was getting, whether it was legitimate or not. The company came up with an idea that they could increase the revenue for us by placing some checks and balances on the people who were collecting the revenue for us. And we engaged with them, and we left before the details happened. The OSP was investigating a company called SML. And they had observed that the SML company had a relationship with a company that we had given or purported to give a contract to. And they assumed that there was some fishy deal in the matter. I don't speak much about it because they apparently they are still investigating.
Oh, interesting.
So we're waiting for them.
So you were invited, you just answered your questions and...
I was detained, as you may know.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, because they wanted a bail condition I couldn't satisfy. Eventually was satisfied, so...
What kind of place were you detained? How was the place?
Or you get detained in the cells at the BNI.
How's the place like? Describe
it's a cell. You go, there are other people there. Then you're going to hang out with them, talk to them, chat with them. And they'll ask you why are you here. You ask them why they are here. And you talk. If you are a talkative like me and you want a story, you can talk to them. I got a few stories which I'll release much later, not anytime soon, because I engaged them, spoke to everybody there.
Interesting. So it's like, is it like the Nima police station cell? You know, the kind of cell where you have your toilet right there, you know, you have beds.
You have mattresses a bit more decent than that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we were told that it's a bit more decent than that when they were taking us there.
You know, they were feeding you okay?
I didn't get the opportunity. I think I had breakfast and then at lunchtime we were told that we should get out. So 3 of us. So we went there in the evening at 7. We had eaten already. So breakfast we had, and then about 11 o'clock we left.
Were you maltreated in any way?
No,
anybody tried to
they don't do that. They just put you in a cell and wait for instructions. But you don't know what's happening outside the world. So if you are coming from the life I'm coming from, you can be very concerned. For a few hours you are there, you don't have your phone, you don't have anything.
Not even a book?
You can read a book as I did, but they will have to check what is in the book because according to their rules, if it's a book that is going to get you to commit suicide, then they won't let you read it. So they have to see the content. And mine was just a normal political book. So.
Wow. So there's not even a TV there, nothing?
No, you are not supposed to because you are thought to have been in the middle of doing something wrong. So you are not as free as you should be. Until you are asked to get out of the cell. Like
so you also have to take off your shirt and stuff?
Yeah, you take off everything and they have some gown they'll give you to wear. And you take off your... It's not that complicated if you are confident that you've done nothing wrong and you know that you'll be released soon because you've done nothing wrong. But it can get complicated if you, for instance, you don't have legal representation. Some of the people I spoke to, they have come there, they don't even know all together what they've done. Wow. They were standing somewhere and an arrest was conducted and they were arrested. And they don't know anybody, and that can be very telling. Yeah, there are people. There were people there like that.
So what, like a case of being in the bath?
Oh, so when I got out, I spoke to some lawyers that I can't mention their name, of course, and told them that Charlie, this is the guys they're going to see. 2 of them I think have gotten out since. That can be telling. I mean, if so, there was some suggestion that if people are brought to detention center, the people who brought them there within 1 week, they should either. The detention center should either release them or the people should come and say something because they were telling us sometimes they bring the people here and they forget. So they either come from OSP or they've come from Iyoko or Iyoko has brought some 5 people. Iyoko hasn't come back to the detention center that the 5 people we brought, where are they? 4 months, they haven't come back. The people at the detention center don't know what to do. These guys came here, the guys asked them, they say your bosses haven't said anything, so we don't know. That's a problem. That's a problem. But if you have good legal representation, and you are confident of this and that, you should be okay. But the problem is, people get there, they don't even know why they are there. They are nobodies, nobody, they don't know anybody, they don't know any lawyer, they were going to buy, the guy told me he was going to buy tea. And then they say, hey, arrest. And they arrested some people and they say, you to your say, he's part of what? then they took him.
Go buy tea.
Yeah.
They just carry
but you're going to buy tea. So you happen to be there when the arrest is being conducted on some guy. And they arrest the guy and they arrest other people.
So wait, if they come here purposely for, say, Mekrikwi, they can arrest all of us?
No,
I don't get it.
Not just that. So they are looking for some fraud guy or something.
Right.
The fraud guy buys check at East Legon.
So they are
every
not sure
midnight.
exactly.
Yeah, so
when they get there,
they waylay him. And this fraud guy comes with forecasts. And some are sitting at the back of the car. They are, that kind of thing. The movement they do, the we feeling. So they waylay them. The security waylay them. They see the guy has arrived. They say that is him. But they sort of arrest all everybody the people with the intention to go and look at it. But if they're looking at it after they arrest and send you guys there and they get another assignment and they are going to somewhere, they have another assignment, they are going somewhere, then
I have a similar experience.
Right.
Back in Legon at the University of Ghana, one night a policeman stopped me and took me to the Legon police station. When he took me, the lights were off. There were no lights, So he just told me to sit down. And I sat. Mercury, I don't even know when the guy left. I had been sitting there for like 20, 30 minutes. And then, people were coming in. There was some lantern, something, It was, there's around 2003, And then the lights came on. And when the lights came on, one of the people said, hey, I was in a hands where. I was the guy was nowhere there.
Just like that.
Wow. Yeah, just like. So if they had put me behind bars in the counter, that's how. That's serious.
Yes, it is. It is.
That really is serious. I mean, they just throw you. They don't catch you before Mercury.
It's not their fault. They get onto another assignment.
Yeah. So they just move on. Anyway, I promise you will not go past 10.
Yes,
so
please.
I'm going to try to be bringing this conversation to a close. We have about 2 years to go for another election. I mean, you followed politics for a while. What, 2 years, right?
2 years. 2 years and a bit more than that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you followed politics for a while. Everybody knows who's going to be representing the New Patriotic Party.
Yeah.
If you were to advise Dr. Bawumia on who you think a running mate should be, what kind of quality, what kind of person would you look for? Do you have someone in mind? Maybe aside yourself.
Because I think that I'm going to be a bit more interested in the campaign of Dr. Bawumia than I had been before in 2024's elections. I don't want to publicly speak about the decisions that he should be making. Yeah. I think that he has a wonderful opportunity to unite the party. The first step is that he's been elected. There's a wonderful opportunity to unite the party. He sits in the best position to do that. He has enough time before the next election. He has run the campaign before in 2024. He knows what went wrong. And he, better than anyone else, can correct these things. I have absolute confidence in him that he knows what he's doing. And I'm sure that Ghanaians will get the opportunity to taste of his leadership very, very soon, hopefully in 2028.
Who do you see leading the NDC?
Oh, that's something I'm relishing. I'm enjoying it. I'm really, really.
Who do you see? Any front runners? Any names?
It's going to history. It might just repeat itself all the time. The contest is going to be between the government and the party. Whenever the government and the party compete, the party usually wins. I think Asante Bediatuo has done enough to take the lead in the NDC race. I see he's going to get a run for his money. People have been pushing case Ato Forson. But the problem with Ato Forson is that whilst Ato Forson's image, and that's the danger about politics. You see, politics and football are about the same. But politics is more complicated. In football, your fortunes are with you. You determine how your fortunes play out as a football team or a football player. You determine it. It's up to you, entirely up to you. In politics, it is both up to you and up to circumstance. The atmosphere can change for you without you having done anything wrong. That's politics, very, very serious. That kind of situation affects usually certain key appointment holders, particularly finance minister. So as a finance minister, your fortunes is not determined by just your work, especially if you're an African finance minister. Ken Ofori Atta once wrote an article which we've all forgotten when COVID started. He wrote an article in the London Times and said, what will an African finance minister do? So Ato Forson can have applause in 2025 and can end up in 2027 down as the most unpopular minister, not because he's done anything wrong, but when you're a finance minister, that's how it is all over the world. It happened to
a lot of global factors can affect
everything. Even if you're a UK finance minister, things can affect you. So the Ato Forson challenge against Asante Bediatuo might not be sustainable. Asante Bediatuo is going on. He doesn't have anything really to judge him, apart from recently what he said. He must guard his speech and be careful. But Ato Forson might not survive that situation, depending on what happens around. Tomorrow, petrol prices go up, kerosene goes up, and people are going to blame the finance minister. He hasn't done anything wrong. When people were celebrating Ato Forson that he's been... I went to the office one day, the boys came to me and said, I have some NDC people in my team. And they said, boss, Ato Forson is the best finance minister in the year. World Bank. The World Bank says so.
Okay, World Bank says so.
And I told them that, go and check. 2017, World Bank said the same thing about Ofori Atta.
Yeah.
They said, boss, are you sure? I said, and 2018 too. So don't worry. Finance minister, you are at the mercy of the wind.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very difficult to carry a finance minister's image into the primaries and win. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that I get the sense that the center of the NDC is beginning to look at Ato Forson as a successor more than Johnson Asante Bediatuo. But I think Asante Bediatuo is going to win. Now, the other problem, which is why the NDC, the NPP may have a glimmer of hope, doesn't mean anything, but it may have a small glimmer of hope, is that if you look at the political history in Ghana and America, since 1988, that far, no candidate, no party, ruling party has changed a candidate and won. 1988 was the last time. It was Ronald Reagan who was the president. George Bush was the vice president. The vice president became the candidate, and he won a one-term in 1988. Yeah. Since then, America, one of the best presidents America never had is Clinton's vice president. He's called Al Gore.
Yeah.
Everyone was rooting for Al Gore.
Al Gore, yeah.
But Al Gore was one of the examples that shows that it's really difficult for a ruling party to change a candidate and win. That said, the NDC can take consolation in the fact that that situation happens in second term, not in first term. How will you call John Mahama? Is it a first term or is it a second term? The jury is out. So we don't know what's going to happen. But you hardly change a candidate and win. Akufo Addo changed, NPP changed to Bawumia and lost. NPP changed to Akufo Addo Kufuor and lost. Mahama won, but he was president before he won.
Yeah.
And Mahama lost again as a sitting president. That's another problem for the NDC. This is the first time, and I said it on a political program and I was challenged by Al-Hassan Suhini, but it's true. This is the first time the NDC is going through any contest. They've never done so. Never, ever done so. Presidential contest. And I say...
You mean internally?
Internally, they've never gone for a presidential contest. Rawlings was the leader. Then Mills became the leader without a contest. John Mahama became the leader without a contest.
There
was no contest.
There was no
contest. If they are going to run a contest now to choose a flag bearer, this is the first in 35 years that the National Democratic Congress is going to choose a leader by a contest. So they will have to deal with it.
What do you say to those who think, who say, opine strongly that, look, it's about time Ghana had a female president? And the vice president is in pole position to step up.
I've been saying to some of my NPP Iraq war, you know why? Because Aliko Dangote has a refinery in Nigeria.
Yeah.
That is refining 500 barrels
they're
per day. So they are fine. Then they are quiet. They are not talking. Because Aliko Dangote was allowed to exist. They could have cut Aliko Dangote off. They could have said that he has stolen tax money. GRA, this, that, then cut him off. But Aliko Dangote's refinery is not in Albania. It is in Nigeria. And the oil is very... If Magdan had a refinery that is doing 500 barrels of oil today, MP will be talking to him. And they'll say, relax, we're good. Magdan will refine for us. And Magdan will take the fall for it because he may be able to sell the crude and the refined products at a higher price outside the country, because that's what's happening today. But he will look at Ghana, he will look at Labadi, he will look at Nungwa and say, it's okay. But another foreigner will not do that. So if you have a right-wing government that is building these people, you have built 10 Magdans, you have built 15 Zoom Lions, you're good to go. That's what America has done.
Or 10 Ibrahim Mohammed. You're good to go.
Response. Somebody is in mining, and then that's what Agyapong said, that's what Buzia said. Let us get to the place where the commanding heights of our economy are in the hands of Ghanaians themselves.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.